Hello and welcome to another episode of With Enough Prep Time. I'm your host, the Nerd Man, and today we're going to be talking about Jody's Corner and his review of the Snyder Cut. So the reason I'm doing this is really because there's a divide in the DCEU community, which I really hoped, if this was a good movie, that divide could be somewhat healed. So before I start anything, I have a lot of respect. I've always enjoyed Jody's Corner. I find him, for the most part, funny. And I agree with a lot of his opinions, whether it be on Game of Thrones or the DCEU, some of the treatment of characters in the DCEU before. So there's plenty I agree with him on, and this isn't I'm trying to go to war or something with Jody's Corner. This is just me reacting to what I think is just some bullshit. It's a review that is so clearly tinged with bias and inaccuracies and falsehoods about the film that was watched. I mean, objective falsehoods, not like, subjectively, I just personally like the movie, but I think subjective falsehoods. So I wanted to go in, listen to Jody, and respond, because I don't want to write notes. I just want to respond exactly to the things that, bother me about his review. So here we go. Hopefully I'll be able to do a good job of this, of refuting some of his claims.
I don't think music, not the Frank. It's fire.
He did, in all fairness to him, he put a lot of positives I agree with. Some positives I actually disagree with him on. So this film isn't completely perfect to me, but there's some positives I disagree. So I think we're going to start straight out from the negatives. He's mentioned some positives. He didn't just go in and straight away just trash the movie. So here we go.
Deathstroke, Joker.
We're not getting there yet.
Okay, because
Saves, yeah.
Okay,
that's a negative, bro.
No, I'm just saying I don't. Yeah, that's negative.
Negative, bro.
I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's a negative.
Which is a negative.
Positive to say about this motherfucker, bro.
It is negative.
Bro, it was good, man. That's it.
It was. It gelled better together because it was 4 hours,
Yeah,
that's true as well. It was over long.
Niggas, time.
I'm really.
It's time. We can bring up some more positives, man.
For sure.
It's time.
For sure.
It's time. I'm sorry.
4 years waiting for this shit. God, this is exactly Zack Snyder's movie from 2017. Yes. You motherfuckers have bullied, bashed Warner Brothers, bashed me, call me a nigger, call my community racist. This what you wanted? What the freak? Bro, what blows me away the most, dog, is that this shit is Joss's film.
All right. Well, first of all, it is very funny because let's be honest about this. All right. It turns out that Joss Whedon really, he shot a lot of different scenes. And cut out a lot from the scenes that really made it a Joss film. He added a bunch of jokes that didn't land. I think some of the jokes were actually Zack Snyder's cut, but Zack Snyder just cut it out. But for things, for instance, like the Russian family with the Flash and Superman saving the Russian family, that was Joss Whedon. Certain things that Joss Whedon took out, like Wonder Woman, the first scene where Wonder Woman saves people from the bank, that was extremely different and changed so that there was less killing in that scene. But in general, I would say about 80% of what Joss Whedon's cut was actually Zack Snyder's, but just because Joss Whedon didn't know how to finish the scene, because he didn't know what Zack Snyder was actually thinking, the way he wanted to finish the scenes come out as a lot flatter as movies. But one thing I do want to agree with Jody's corner on straight away, or Jody on, is this film, or as far as the film is concerned, not any of Josh Whedon's behavior behind the scenes. As far as the film is concerned, this is not Josh Whedon's fault. We cannot go ahead and blame and keep on saying how terrible an individual he is. A lot of the stuff I didn't like in the Snyder Cut also was found in Josh Whedon's cut, was also found in the Snyder Cut. Things I was sure that Josh Whedon had filmed, actually Zack Snyder had filmed. I was like, it must be Zack Snyder who filmed that. Oh, sorry, it must be Josh Whedon who filmed that. Like, for instance, the Justice League, basically going to Superman's grave and digging him up. I thought that was a Josh Whedon edition. I thought Zack Snyder had come up with a different reason. Now, Zack Snyder makes more sense of why they feel that, exhuming Superman's body and using the mother box to bring him to life will actually work. Like, the way Zack Snyder makes sense of that and the way the Snyder Cut makes sense of that is much better. But in general, just the idea of digging up Superman's grave, I just don't think is a really nice scene. I think they could have just cut the whole digging up Superman's grave, really, and just cut to them having got Superman's body. And it would have been much better. But in general, as I said, I do agree that Josh Whedon's cut is not, it's a completely different movie, the Snyder Cut, but still the actual scenes that are taken, most of them, in Josh Whedon's cut are actually, were actually filmed by Zack Snyder. I think that's hard to deny having watched this film now. But to say that this is the same film because of that is ridiculous to me. I think what is added to the movie is so vastly different and so vastly improves this movie and so totally makes it a completely different entity that it's just ridiculous to suggest that the two movies are comparable in terms of their narrative and what they're doing as superhero movies. One is just a kind of enjoyable forgettable Saturday morning cartoon. You watch it once, a lot of it annoys you, but for the most part, it's bearable, which is Josh Whedon's cut. And you have to say, given the circumstances, yes, Josh Whedon actually really did do a pretty amazing job in making what was supposed to be a 4-hour cut, a coherent 2-hour cut. It also should be said that clearly Zack Snyder could not have released this cut in the cinemas, this 4-hour cut, and it probably would have, I think it would have had a lot of fans, and I think it may have even made over $1 billion, but I think the critics would have really killed this movie. But at the same time, I do think that fans who watched it would, the word of mouth would have been very, very good and may have carried it to over $1 billion at the box office, at least like $1 billion. I think it would have made. But the issue is that I don't think that the Warner Brothers, even Warner Brothers, would have actually let him release that 4-hour cut in the cinemas. So he would have had to cut it down. And I think there is a good 3.5 hour, 3-hour, 20-minute movie in this that is just as epic as this 4-hour cut. So I still think, I don't know how critics would have reacted to the 3 hours and 20 minutes, considering they were so, at the time in 2017 especially, they were so dedicated to bashing Zack Snyder movies for every single element of them that they may have even torn a 3-hour and 20-minute Justice League movie to shreds and said, oh, they should have introduced these characters in solo movies and done it like Marvel did it. And they wouldn't have necessarily been wrong in that. but I still think this movie, I mean, the first thing I want everyone to do and think about when thinking about this movie is try and think like you'd never watched the Joss Whedon cut, because the Joss Whedon cut is not Zack Snyder's fault. I think this is the problem with this critique of the Snyder cut at the moment. The critique that you're finding on Andy's channel, the critique that you're finding on Jody's, all of it is premised or predicated on the notion that that somehow Joss Whedon's cut is even valid. Joss Whedon's cut is not a valid thing because it's another director coming in and finishing off a completely different style of director's film. So the fact that we've already seen that movie and it's ruined a lot of the good stuff in Zack Snyder's movie means that, you know, and it doesn't ruin it. I don't mean it ruins it. It's just that it's been spoiled for us. We don't get to see it freshly, without like completely new, without, you know, so that we're completely like blown away by the scene, because we already know, you know, roughly what's going to happen in the scene. It's just that Zack Snyder does it a little bit differently and in a way that makes it just far, far more epic. So reviewing the Snyder cut on the basis that you've already seen the Justice League cut and there are similar scenes in that, and Joss Whedon didn't cut as much of the Snyder cut, didn't rewrite as much as Snyder's vision as we once thought before the Snyder cut was released, I don't think is a fair criticism to Snyder's movie itself. We have to imagine Snyder's movie as if we have watched it without ever having seen Joss Whedon's movie. Just think, if you had have seen that fresh, all of the scenes, all of the way it plays out, what you would have thought of the film. And that's what I want to begin with as a kind of premise of where I'm going to go with the critique of what Jody is saying. Because I think that is it's completely unfair. You can't criticize Zack Snyder for the fact that the studio decided to get another director to finish his film, released it out into the world, and spoiled a lot of Snyder's scenes, which are much more epic than Joss Whedon's scenes. And they're framed differently, and they look more beautiful, and the score is greater, and everything is better about them. But you've already seen a different version of it, which is just less good. It's completely unfair, I think, as a way of looking at this film. Zack Snyder made the film originally, right? The Justice League isn't the original movie. It's just the movie that was put out first. Zack Snyder's movie is the original movie.
When they say Joss, I don't want to hear Justice League no more, my nigga.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, bro, Joss did a fantastic job.
He did.
He took a 4-hour movie, chopped it to 2 hours, and still managed to make it feel like a hero team up at the end.
Yeah.
I agree with that, but he didn't make it feel like a hero team up. It felt like a really disjointed mess of a movie, but that is not Joss Whedon's fault. Joss Whedon was set an impossible, thankless task by Warner Brothers, dictated to them, and then thrown under the bus when it didn't work out. Now, it may be the case that Joss Whedon also acted like a complete asshole and did some terrible things behind the scenes. But in terms of what he did as a filmmaker with the Justice League, his version, I don't think you could make it any better. And heartfelt, I have to even say thank you to Joss Whedon for one thing. Thank you for ruining all those scenes, because by taking out all of the scenes that make this film epic, you actually gave Zack Snyder the opportunity to present a lot of these scenes in a way that made them so much better and made me appreciate them so much more. It's really fantastic that he, they did ruin his movie in a way, because seeing what was originally planned, what he was originally going to do, just makes it all that more impactful to me as a viewer. Yeah, so I'm kind of thankful that you know, like, all of the action scenes were ruined by Josh Whedon. Not one action scene had that flair that Snyder has for action. He drained it of its personality. And yeah, the hero team up at the end, there are bits of Josh Whedon's cut that I actually think work a little bit better than Zack Snyder's cut, like the dynamics between the team, which I think they're going to mention later. So I'll talk about that later.
Yeah, you did a good job.
With color grading, oh god dang, a better score. That Junkie Excel sheet is trash, my nigga. If I have to see Wonder Woman pop up on camera one more time and every time Wonder Woman shows up, not her theme music, not the
I don't hear that shit.
it's every time Wonder Woman showed up. It was so freaking annoying to me, bro. It took me out of the scene. It made me completely focus on nothing but nigga, why did you have this trash? This isn't tied to the first Wonder Woman. This isn't even in BBS. What the freak did you get this stupid sound from? You didn't hear that shit? Oh my god, the score here is trash, bro.
All right, so here we go. This is what I wanted to get into. So thanks a lot, Conde Olaf from Brazil. Hola. This is what I wanted to get into right here. This is a lie. This is a straight up lie. Now, this is a bit more subjective, so I can't say that I think that you know, Jody is not telling the truth. Maybe from his point of view, the score for Justice League was better. I watched Justice League the other day, and one of the weakest elements of it was the score. The score did not go with the scenes. There was bits of the score where he was using old stuff like the Batman and Superman theme from '78. And he uses the Superman theme from '78 when Superman is evil and he's come back evil. And you're like, that isn't a triumphant moment to use the Superman score. You want to use the Superman score at a point where Superman is being heroic, right? If you're going to do a throwback to Superman, let's use it at the right point. As for this Wonder Woman new score that Junkie XL came up with, I absolutely loved it. I liked it. My only problem with it was that they used it when Wonder Woman wasn't necessarily doing epic shit. So I think the singing, the kind of melodic and echoey singing that was this Wonder Woman theme every time she kind of entered the scene, it really, really worked when she was saving the little girls from the terrorists in the beginning of the movie, because she was doing epic shit. They showed Wonder Woman's powers and abilities as Zack Snyder does, and this is going to be a main theme of this retort to Jody's Corner, is that they used Wonder Woman's powers in a way that we have never seen to date. Even as much as I love the Wonder Woman movie, the 2017 Wonder Woman movie, the way it shows Wonder Woman moving, blocking bullets, her speed, her strength, her power, in this fight scene with in the bank with the terrorists, I think is the most incredible Wonder Woman action we've ever seen. It's a little bit wonky in places. It could have been slightly tightened up to make it even more visually pop more, but it is a great Wonder Woman action scene. I have problems with it. I don't like Wonder Woman killing. I think that is too far. But again, you know, it's something I've kind of just thrown my hands up with Zack Snyder now, you know, in terms of certain things where superheroes kill in his movies. I don't like that. I think it should change. I think, you know, we should say to maybe, you know, like, hey, we really love your movie, but this is our one critique. If it bothers people as much as it bothers me, I don't like Wonder Woman killing. But in terms of the way she moved and the action scene itself on a technical level, it was brilliant. And I love to see Wonder Woman action moving like that. And this score emphasized that tremendously, and I loved it. And the entire score of this movie is fantastic. There are scenes in this, specifically the Cyborg origin scene, where it's going through Cyborg's origin, and him learning, his dad, Dr. Silas, telling him about his powers. So he tells him, that he explains to Cyborg how he's become this god of the digital age. He has the ability to do things, power way beyond, to control and interface with machines that make him one of the most dangerous people on Earth. And it was an incredible, revelation in terms of my appreciation of the character of Cyborg. I never really saw him like that, as this powerful. I always thought he'd get fucked up by any member of the Justice League easy, But when you think about his power set, it is actually incredible. But even more than that, the emotional beats, the way the score tremendously it gave emphasis to the emotional beats of Cyborg's origin story, especially when he is watching this woman who's just she's basically a waitress at a cafe, and he's watching her and seeing that she's in trouble. She's a good woman. She gives money to the homeless, but she's poor herself, and she needs, her family are going under. She's about to be evicted from her house, but every day she goes out and works hard for her son. And Cyborg is able to see this woman's life by interfacing with various technologies. And he's watching her on the road, and he decides to give her $100,000. And I swear to God, I almost had a tear in my eye. It made me fall in love with Cyborg immediately. And that was, and this is a theme that's going to come up in Jody's Corner's critique. I'm used to the Ayn Randian Zack Snyder, who doesn't seem to have an understanding of the heroic what these characters are supposed to, the heroic nature that these characters are supposed to have. And to see a scene like that, to see Zack Snyder emphasize such kindness, such essentially Cyborg's a god to many people in this world, to Earthlings. For him to come down to Earth and watch this woman and be curious about her life and decide to just help her like that, that's the kind of heroics I have wanted from Zack Snyder movies from the jump. The kind of heroics I wanted to see in Man of Steel. It's the kind of heroics we actually saw in Wonder Woman. And I wanted to see that in a Zack Snyder movie, with his visuals, with his flair for action, with his raising these characters to these mythic proportions, like they're modern day Greek gods. I wanted to see all of that, but with a heroic spirit to these characters. And it brought a tear to my eye that Zack Snyder had this scene in it with this woman, and that Cyborg did something so kind for this woman. And the music behind that scene, if anyone, that one musical score, that one musical cue behind what Cyborg did in that scene was better than anything in Justice League. Anything. Period. And there were more like that. There was more. There were scenes where Barry Allen raced into the Speed Force, where again the music swells, and you see that there was a great Justice League theme by Junkie XL, right? Where that was the kind of theme throughout this, and it particularly swells and gets to a beautiful, crescendo during this scene where Flash and Ezra Miller does such a great job in this, is has to discovers his Speed Force power, essentially how he can race into the Speed Force and bend time to his will. Absolutely amazing, and the music behind that was triumphant. I cannot imagine anybody saying that they are a DC fan, that they are a fan of these characters, right? That you didn't jump, put your fist up in the air, tear up a little misty-eyed watching that scene with Barry Allen and the Flash. And one more musical cue, because this goes back to the Hans Zimmer Superman score, which I loved in this movie. That it was retread in this movie. We're going to hear a lot of blasphemy in this review, right? Like a ton of blasphemy. This review, I'm sorry to say this, Jody, with all due respect, this review is mediocre. It's mediocre, bro. There is a scene where Superman is first taking flight, and he's got his black suit, and he's hearing the voice of Jonathan Kent and Jor-El. And at first, it's just the normal ones that we heard for Man of Steel, which were, the ones that they were really nice speeches, but they weren't the kind of things that we need to hear, Pa Kent say to Superman. But then, just before he's about to take flight, there was a bunch of speeches from Jor-El and from Pa Kent that we'd never heard before, where Pa Kent was encouraging Superman to go out into the world, to show himself, to fly, where Jor-El was saying, you will love humanity like we loved you. And it gives me fucking chills. I'm saying it now, and it actually just gave me chills. I swear to God, I'm not even joking. As a Superman fan, I can't understand, as Jody, as a Superman fan, watching that scene, can your hate, can your anger to Zack Snyder be so overwhelming that that you could not watch that scene where Superman takes flight and just be absolutely fucking amazed at like how Zack Snyder course corrected everything he got wrong in the rest of the movies? Don't get me wrong, to anybody who's a fan of Jody's Corner or a fan, or not a fan of Zack Snyder's movies, I do not think that that this arc that Superman was supposed to be on from Man of Steel to BVS to this movie where finally he actually becomes Superman. I'm sorry, that arc for me is trash. It's absolute trash. It's not a good arc. He should have been Superman in Man of Steel from the very, very beginning. But in terms of this movie, let's not be biased as critics. We're looking at this movie alone. And that scene where Pa Kent was finally telling Kal-El the right things. What the kind of things that Marlon Brando and the kind of things that Pa Kent from the original Superman 78 movies was telling Superman. That scene was wonderful, and it should have warmed any Superman fan's heart to hear him saying those things and to see Clark Kent. So sorry, I'm just going off the music now. We'll talk about the rest of it. But the music behind that as Superman took flight was absolutely gorgeous, and it was a magnificent scene. And I can't understand how anyone who claims, like Jody does, to be like a Superman fan can say with that music swelling behind that the music and the score in Justice League was better than in this movie. It's crazy to me. Even if you dislike, I'll even give him this. Even if you dislike that Wonder Woman theme wasn't in it enough for you to dismiss all the rest of the score by the score by Junkie XL in this movie. The main Justice League score did its thing. It was a great score. So let's go on to the rest of this.
Absolute trash score. Junkie XL, glad they fired you and replaced you with Danny Elfman because, bro, you dropped the ball here. Score is utter garbage.
I only heard the Superman shit. That was tight.
Okay.
Even he admits the Superman thing was tight.
I can keep going. Another issue for me, bro.
Okay.
Many people have told me, Jody, you're gonna love Wonder Woman's a baddie. She's so strong and so amazing. What movie did you watch, bro? Joss Whedon had Wonder Woman like a straight epic G. Wonder Woman was taking Steppenwolf head on in Joss's version.
Yeah.
Joss had Wonder Woman's strength boosted up, bro. Yeah. She was serving Steppenwolf.
All right, this is a straight up lie. Like, I'm the biggest Wonder Woman fan, and this is a straight up lie. I'm going to tell the truth about this. Wonder Woman in the first half of this movie was epic. She was a fantastic character. She was taking names, bro. In the rest of the movie with the Snyder, like the latter half of the movie, not so much. I'm not saying she was trash. She was good as a leader, as an inspirational figure. She said some epic lines, like the one where she says hate is useless. It's one of my favorite Wonder Woman lines. She says to Aquaman in the movie. So as a figure of hope and of love, you know, and she didn't come across to me as just like, you know, in Justice League, she came across to me as the mother, or like she was babysitting, like a motherly figure in in Justice League. In this one, in the Snyder Cut, she comes across as a warrior, and I prefer that take. I still regard Wonder Woman, from my reading of her, as more of a diplomat and a peacemaker, and she's kind of like like a warrior priestess in a way. Like, she's a wise warrior priestess. She's not like a mother or a straight up just warrior. But if you're going to give me warrior Wonder Woman or Wonder Woman who's just a mother, who's like, you know, I take the warrior Wonder Woman over the mother Wonder Woman. But in terms of the strength level of Wonder Woman in both movies, it's trash. Both movies have her trash. She should be way, way, way more powerful than she is in either movie. I'm pissed off that, you know, and it's one of these interpretations in the comics. You can either have the interpretation where Wonder Woman is like she's near Superman's strength, not Superman stronger, but she's got warrior skills to make up where she lacks in strength. So she can take on Superman, right? She can take on big bad guys by herself. She is not the type of person to say, bring back Superman because we need him. And I did not like that in the Snyder Cut. She doesn't need anyone. She's independent. She can do it for herself. No one owns me, as she says. Another really, really good line from the Snyder Cut for Wonder Woman. So basically, Wonder Woman is epic in her throughout the film in terms of her personality in the Snyder Cut. Much better than in Justice League. And for the first half of the film, she's a badass warrior. Up until when she first fights Steppenwolf, and she saves Cyborg from Steppenwolf when Steppenwolf is about to attack him, right? And she does this thing where she smashes Steppenwolf through a wall, and is able to lasso something, fly up, stand on like a broken bridge, and put her sword and the way she does that as a warrior, that was cool, right? And she does epic stuff like that up until that moment, and then afterwards, I did not find her as epic in the rest of the movie. I felt like they gave, especially in the last fight scene, when Superman returns, I felt like they really, really did her dirty. I think she should have had she should have taken up like 20 parademons, came in, fought, Steppenwolf. Steppenwolf was just dunking on her until Superman came to have to save everyone's ass. And I did not like that. Because what does it mean? Are we going to have to take out Superman every time in every film? Because really, the Justice League basically can't do anything without Superman. The only person who did anything meaningful without Superman in this movie was Flash. Flash is the only one you could say, yeah, definitely you needed Flash to be successful for this mission. Otherwise, Superman could have done this himself. And I think that's a big problem. I think Aquaman needs a boost in his strength a bit. Wonder Woman should be more powerful than Aquaman. Less powerful than Superman, but like, you know, she should be able to fight Superman. There should be she should be like Feora to Superman, right? Feora like was able to use her warrior skills to you know, subdue Superman for a while, but eventually Superman can overpower her. That's how it should be. This, you know, and in Justice League, sorry, she was even worse. There is no discernible difference. You're just looking to hate the Snyder's cut for no reason. In fact, Snyder had her personality way more epic. I liked the only thing I liked about Wonder Woman in Josh Whedon's cut. The only thing I liked about Wonder Woman was that she didn't want to resurrect Superman. That she wasn't just following Batman. That there was a little bit of disagreement, and I liked Flash a little bit more in that scene as well. I think the scene where they're discussing what to do with the mother box in Josh Whedon's cut is maybe the only better scene than the Snyder cut. I have to admit that. So the way Snyder frames their discussion whether to resurrect Superman or not, basically it's only Aquaman who basically says maybe we shouldn't. Like he's the only one actually, you know, who's basically a bit cynical. Like he's the cynical one. He's the one who's basically a bit more cautious about the idea. Whereas Wonder Woman, I think, you know, is basically agreeing with Batman. Flash agrees with them. Flash even says we're all thinking it. I think the way Josh Whedon set up the dynamic, where it was Aquaman, Wonder Woman, and Flash who were like, maybe we shouldn't do this, and it was Cyborg and Batman who were like the ones who were willing to take the risk. I thought that scene played out a little bit better than the one in Zack Snyder's Snyder cut. But apart from that, Wonder Woman was absolutely a 99% better in the Snyder cut in terms of her personality and her action scenes. It's just it's night and day. I only think that my problem is that she went you know, in the Snyder cut, in that last fight scene, she should have got something more to do. All she was doing was saving Batman, and Batman saving her, and Superman saving her. She saved Aquaman from stones falling on him, but would that really have even hurt Aquaman that much? It wasn't like she didn't need to save Aquaman from rock saving. Even when she was trying to pull Steppenwolf down off the bridge, you know, Steppenwolf basically made her, you know, it made her look weak because Aquaman had to help her pull Steppenwolf down off the bridge so that, you know, Cyborg could pull apart the mother boxes. I didn't like that at all, but that was consistent. In the Josh Whedon cut, it was bad. Wonder Woman didn't do enough in the final fight in the Josh Whedon cut, and Wonder Woman didn't do enough in the final fight in Zack Snyder's cut. It was bad in both cuts. They need to give Wonder Woman more power. Patty Jenkins now has her flying. Let's get her flying in this Justice League a sequel. If there's a sequel to the Justice League, we want Wonder Woman flying, Wonder Woman stronger, Wonder Woman able to give, you know, lay some shit down. She needs to be like, you know, the second, like if Superman is one of the best powerhouse, she's the second best powerhouse. She should, if Superman takes out 30 people, she should take out 25. That's how it should be, in my opinion. All right, I'm going to leave it there as part one. See what people are saying about this. And then I'm going to do a part two to this reaction to Jody's corner. So thanks so much. See you on the flip side. And I love you 3000. Like, comment, subscribe, by the way. Thanks so much. Bye.